Hi, INFPs. This is Amanda, and Happy New Year. So, as I am recording this, it is the beginning of 2025, and I know that a lot of us feel very optimistic, maybe a little high energy. We're thinking about some of those possibilities and goals we have for this new year. So, I thought it was very appropriate to start off with a video called "How INFPs Can Set Themselves Up for Success." As you're thinking about these new goals and new projects and new paths you want to walk. So, yeah, let's get into it. I've got three things. And the first thing is the first way that INFPs can set themselves up for success is to explore and experience. And this is in contrast to some of the advice out there that you will see that tells you that when you are starting something new, especially like a project or you're creating something, that right away, what you need to do is focus in, right? Or niche down or something to that effect. For INFPs, you actually want to be careful about focusing too early. So, focusing, coming to a focus is in fact a good thing to do. Especially if you want to say like earn money with that thing or grow it in some way. A focus is good. However, INFPs need to really start off by gaining experiences. This is how we sort of feed our intuition, right? In this process. And yeah, gaining experiences and exploring is going to give you food for your intuition so that you can calibrate it to this thing that you're doing and be able to use it with more accuracy and also with more speed. But also, too, I mean, you just want to give yourself some time to play, really, and to kind of dig in or really embrace your explorer nature. So for INFPs, when you're getting started with something, it's actually kind of a better idea to go sort of broad, to go for breadth rather than focus at first. And then as you move forward, you sort of keep narrowing your breadth until you reach a focus. But I think it is much more advisable for INFPs to start unfocused. Like really like let your intuition guide you from thing to thing and activity to activity. But allow yourself to just play, get your hands dirty, explore, and that experience that you gain in that phase will allow you to pick a focus later on, and it'll be a good focus. It'll be a focus that's authentic to you and that you have essentially data on, like your own experience is data. And then it's going to feel, it'll be powerful rather than trying to start that way, which INFPs aren't that great at because we're not the best like planners. Yeah, so let that focus go for now. Go for the exploration and gaining experiences, and that'll give you a good start. All right. Second way that INFPs can set themselves up for success is to tolerate a little boredom. So, INFPs, we get bored easily. And this is not necessarily a problem for us, but it can be. Because what that boredom, when we reach that boredom point, what we have a tendency to want to do is to jump ship, right? We start to feel a little bit bored. We think like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing this thing, or maybe I'm just not stimulated enough. There's not enough here for me to feel passionate about or interested in. And you know what? I'm going to drop this and I'm going to move to something else. That is not necessarily a bad thing, but the problem, if you keep dropping stuff, is that you're never building anything, to the point that you can really either make it successful or just make it big enough to have an impact, or like to just put more into something. So yeah, so it's more impactful, right? So my second tip here is just to tolerate a little bit of boredom, and it's to get sort of gain more self-awareness with kind of your boredom threshold, like, being able to recognize the point at which you're getting too bored, which that does mean that you need to maybe let go of this thing or take a break. But below that boredom point, you just sort of tolerate it, right? You just see it as a natural part of your process. You get bored easily, and you come up with some ways to kind of manage that boredom, but you keep going with this thing that you're doing and building so that, you have something complete, you have something to show for yourself. Maybe, you can deliver products or services to other people if that's what you're doing. But, you don't want to always be letting stuff go and never building anything that you can grow. We do love, INFPs do have a little bit of the shiny object syndrome, and we do, enjoy a lot of variety. We like to jump around, but I think we do also have a desire to build things, right, and to build them to some sort of completion. So yeah, so that's the second tip, is just tolerate a little bit of boredom, right? You don't want to be really bored, but if you're mildly bored, that's okay. All right. And then my third tip for how INFPs can set themselves up for success is to keep evolving. Um, our flexible natures means that as we sort of set off along a path, right, where we're creating something, it tends to change, and it can sometimes change so much it actually doesn't look like anything like the original thing we set out to do, or like there may just be small pieces of that original thing. But that's okay, right? So, I always have this visual, like when I'm starting something new, I'm taking off along a path. But of course, paths fork in different places, right? So, you know, I may come to a fork and stop walking straight ahead and I go off to the right. And it starts to take me in a little bit of a new direction. Like maybe the goal changes a bit, but I'm still on it's like I'm still on that original path that I was on when I set out to do the thing I set out to do, but it's changing as I go along. And I want to just allow those changes. I don't want to be too rigid in like hanging on to an original goal or objective. And I also don't want to do too much of what isn't working, right? So another way that your path can change is and again, especially like if you're in the exploration phase, right? You're seeing like what works and what doesn't work. And it's simple to say and maybe not so simple to do, but you want to drop the things that don't work for you and go with the things that do. And sometimes the things that do work are surprising. And sometimes they even exist way off the path, right? You, for whatever reason, you left the path entirely and you went into the weeds, and there was something there that you found that actually like changed your course, like in a big way. So allow those things to happen. Hold your goals and your aspirations a little loosely, and let that path guide you, right? Create, sometimes I like to say, you create the path as you walk it, not before. And maybe I should clarify that INFPs tend to do that more than other types. Like we don't sort of like lay out the path before us and then walk it. We're actually creating it as we go along. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you there. Good luck on all your projects, goals, and aspirations for this new year, and I will see you in the next video.